welcome to my channel. Today I'll be showing you my 2024 reading journal setup. I love the look of bullet journal style reading journals, but I don't have the patience or the time to set up spreads by hand, so I made these instead. This is my reading journal for 2024. It's fantasy inspired and dragon themed, which is perfect because I'm hoping to read more fantasy this year. There's the contents where I've added books that I'm currently reading. Then I have a page for reading goals. I've added some writing and social media related goals here as well. My reading goals are to read 50 books this year, which is something that I've done before, so I know it's attainable. To fill out a book bingo, more on that later. I want to try to annotate a book, which is something that I've never done before. But this July I will be trying to annotate Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. I thought that it would be easier to try to annotate a book that I know and love. I want to read more library books, which is something that I used to do, but I haven't done it recently. I'm also hoping that reading library books will help me DNF books that I don't enjoy. I want to take part in readathons, at least Jane Austen July and possibly Victober. I want to review all the books that I read, and I want to read more ebooks. I also have writing related goals. I finished the third draft of my current work in progress last year, so I want to read that and then work on the fourth draft of that book. During NaNoWriMo last November I wrote 10 short stories, and I want to revise one or two of them and hopefully also publish those short stories. My social media goals are to post consistently on Instagram, start a blog, which I've done, try making long videos for YouTube, which is this video, so goal accomplished. And I also want to try posting reels on Instagram every day for 1 month. Next is a shelfie. This reading journal is for 100 books, but as I'm reading, as my goal is to read 50 books this year, I'm only planning to fill out the left side of the bookshelf. Then there's room for 5-star reads, to be read, new releases, and wish list. Then we get into the reading challenges. First is book bingo. The items that I've added to the book bingo are a mix of things that I know I will be doing. I know I will be reading a classic and annotating a book. But there's also items that I don't very often do, such as reading memoirs or biographies. So I'm trying to challenge myself to read a memoir or a biography. I also want to read a book with animal in the title or cover. Graphic novel was in my book bingo last year, but I didn't get to read one, so I'm hoping that I will read a graphic novel this year. I also have a lot of different representations, such as BIPOC representation. I want to read more ebooks. I don't read a lot of romance, so that's in my book bingo. I want to read a book with non-human characters. I also have a tendency to read longer books, so I want to challenge myself to read a book that is less than 200 pages. I gravitate towards covers that are black, purple or blue, so this year I want to challenge myself to read a book with a red cover. There's disability representation. I want to read a debut novel, book involving food. I also want to try to DNF a book which is something that I don't usually do, especially if it's a book that I own. I want to annotate a book. I want to read more indie books and support my fellow indie authors. I want to read an ancient retelling, a book with LGBT plus representation, a first in a series, book with a map, a science fiction book, a banned book, and a middle grade book. I read quite a lot of YA, but not very many middle grade books. If you have recommendations for middle grade or any of these items, let me know in the comments. I want to read a classic, a fantasy book, and a book with a one-word title. There's a couple of other reading challenges, A to C, and a book voyage. Since this is a fantasy themed reading journal, there's also room to list fantasy worlds. There's room for other challenges, readathons, and buddy reads. This is where I'll be adding my plans for Jane Austen July and Wicktober. A book bracket. And then the monthly spreads. For my January hopefuls, I have 8 books, and for each book I've added the total page count, my goal of how many pages I want to read, and at the end of the month I will add how many pages I actually read. So this month I want to start reading Tolstoy's War and Peace and Plato's Republic. I want to finish Claire North's Ithaca, and I want to start reading Lessons in Chemistry. I've already read Agamemnon by Aeschylus, and I want to read Sophocles, Oedipus and Antigone, and second translations of Sophocles, Oedipus. And I also want to finish reading The Book Eaters. I've started filling the reading log, and then there's room for book purchases and monthly wrap-up. And that's how far I've filled this reading journal. I've started filling the review pages as well, but I haven't finished them yet. So this is the setup of my 2024 reading journal. Let me know in the comments if you use a ready-made reading journal or if you have a bullet journal style reading journal, and I'll see you in my next video.